And yes, there I am again. That was the glass gloop of coffee, it's called by now. And I'm putting all this stuff out of the way. Because of the runes to tarot correspondences thing that I uploaded just now, I wanted to go into the tarot cards that I didn't find a correspondence for necessarily. Some of those, if you look at that video, you can see some of those runes were actually quite obviously, to me at least, it's all my interpretation, of course. You can go off in any, it's an open field, I think. So, having said that, I still believe in my own linking of the Ur rune, for example, with all this pentacle stuff, and the Isa rune linking with the 2 and the 4 of swords and such, you know, those types of cards. What I found was that there were a number of tarot cards that I couldn't really incorporate in my rune system. I'm doing this also because I'm trying to get at this, what I went into just now in the other lengthy, you know, energy check-in business, that I have always felt the runes to be this complete representation of the world, of life as it is for us, just like the tarot. There's always been, that has been the attraction. That is why I'm into Oracle, I'm into Tarot, and I'm also into runes. And the runes have the virtue of being a really simple, like distilled, quintessential version of such a system, which would help us eventually determine, you know, what it is that we're supposed to be doing, etc. So I'm trying to work with several systems together to see what one system, what the tarot actually tells me about the runes, without drawing a card for a rune, which is another approach, of course. It's another way of going about this. I'm not doing that. I am using myself as a, you know, sounding board to look at what I know about a rune and then seeing which cards would go with that. That's what I've done. And I've got a sort of a pile of cards left out. I actually had 47 tarot cards in use for each, for the total of the Rune Futhark set that I was that I was using, the Anglo-Saxon Futhark mostly. And the cards that I didn't use were these 2 majors, strangely enough. Justice and Temperance were the 2 majors that I couldn't find a place for in the runes. So I thought that was really interesting because they are virtues, right? And the other virtue that's in the traditional, our tarot that we use, so not Aminciate, right, is the Strength rune. And I'd actually put the Strength in with Ur, which I still think is okay. Depends on your approach a bit. I can see the stretch between the Strength card as we look at it nowadays and the Ur rune. It tells me something, that the choices that we make, the actual conscious weighing up of our options, the detachment one needs for in order to make a judgment, take a position, you know, all that is very unrunic in a way. So what that tells me, because the Strength, the Justice and the Temperance cards are all 3 about detachment in a way, to me. That's why this is interesting. That's why I'm putting this out there. It's like they're virtues, yes. Um, it would apply to the other virtues, going to the Minkyate for a second here. Um, what is it? Charity and hope. And there's one more that I can't think of at the moment. You know, they are really human. All these virtues, you know, in a way, the term virtues, I'm only using that not to define any of this, but to point out which ideas that I am referring to it is, you know, which ideas it is that I am referring to. God, syntax. Because they have to do with this, your being in a position of having a choice. Your choice is to be hopeful, or whatever, you know, temperate, or to, actually they're really linked. Isn't this interesting? These virtues are all the same to me. They're all representations of the same inner sense of sovereignty. Hang on a second, I want to think about this. I want to make sure that I do it right. I want to be responsible. There's no virtue of responsibility in there. But that's what you want. They're sort of separating out aspects of this inner responsibility where we want to take care of things. We want things to be still around the next day. Thank you very much. We want to look after things. How interesting. All this little world of us kind of stepping back 2 steps from the issue at hand and going like, okay, maybe I don't need to do this right away. Maybe I can answer this email tomorrow. And then, you know, stuff like that. That's temperance. All sorts of interesting things. Ooh la la, I love this. This is not in the runes. This approach to life, this me being an individual and deciding carefully what I'm supposed to be, you know, taking time away from separating myself from the problem in order to look at the situation and, you know, making up my mind about things and allowing myself time and space to incorporate other factors in the thing other than the immediate, this is what's happening to you, you know, which is what. So the suggestion would then be that the runic world is all about the immediate, and it is about us being taken along the current through the world. It's more passive. In a way. Mentally, it's more passive. And it's a lot of it is about forces within and without. So I would certainly say that the runes have a presence in the world and a presence within ourselves. So a Fey rune, I had the Fey rune, you know, that one, like that. Twice in a row. When I started doing the daily draw with the runes, I had the Fey rune twice. And then at the end of the second day or so, when it was still 43 degrees out there, yikes, I was reading that they actually used the Fey rune to represent the whole of the Futhark in inscriptions. And it's a very lucky rune. It's a rune for prosperity, generally. So me getting that rune twice in a row, to me was like getting a comment from the runes themselves. Yeah, looking at us, and we are lucky. And you know, we bring you good things. Something like that. So that was really cool. And it gave me more of a sense of, you know, connection with the runes and more of a sense of, significant link with the world of the runes than I've actually ever had before. What with all the studying and all that, didn't give me any feedback. So to get the feedback from the world of the runes in this way is actually really cool. So more can be said about that. I'm going to pull out the tarot cards that I still wanted to show you, because they're out there. Just bear with 1 second. Yes. So my two mages in the steampunk still. Justice, Temperance, and that was that. I have court cards, quite a number of them. I do have a couple of kings and queens in my correspondences set. Strikingly, I have not got a king of wands in there, and all the rest of these are pages and knights, because you might attribute the knight to the chariot, as is the Rido rune. You certainly could, but in this deck there aren't any other horses, or there aren't really any means of locomotion of being a rider. So that's what I was missing in this particular deck. Were you to use a Minchiati deck or a Rider-Waite-Smith deck or a Marseille deck, you would have knights that actually are riding some type of animal, or even in the Minchiati they're identified with this animal, and then it'd be easier to identify them with the Rido rune, and the Rido rune only has the chariot as it is, which I felt it was kind of cool, because less cards is also nice, let's have a bit of a simmering down. So then, other than that, I've got Pentacles cards, and this is a Cups card. I'm separating these out really quickly, hopefully. There's another Pentacle. Let me put these to the side. There's more Cups, more Wands, and another Wands, and there's another Pent. I hadn't put these in order before doing this, so I am doing that now in order for you to see that. That's the Nine of Wands. There's another Cups card. 4 and 5. I'm always having a bit of a hard time between the 4 and 5 of the Cups. What's really the difference and so on. Interestingly, okay, this is actually a Swords card. 4 of Wands and another Pentacles. Sorry. I'm having in my spare cards the Wands 4, 5, 6, and what to me looks like 8, 9 and 10. So the 7 of Wands went in and the Ace of Wands went in. Okay? That's all. All this is Wands cards that are too detailed, too specific, too atmospheric, too special to a particular situation. In the Pentacles, I'm not doing this in any particular order. 6, 4, 3. Pentacles 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10. Pentacles were left out of the correspondences. For the Cups, I have only 4 that I haven't used. 4, 5, 7, and I think this is 8. Let me see. Yes, of Cups. The 4 and the 5 are too emotional for me to recognize in the runes. Too personal again. It's like that dimension with the majors, where it has to do with a personal perspective about things that I don't really recognize in the runes ever at all at this moment. Idem for the 7 of Cups. The 8 of Cups I find a bit more difficult to get a hold of. But only 4 cards. And then in the Swords suit, all I have is this one. The 5 of Swords is the only one that I haven't put in to my correspondences set. So that means that all the other swords found a place which is kind of interesting to me, because the dimension of there's no pages, okay? There's no real process of learning anything, of trying things out carefully, you know, or you know, wildly and exuberantly, or any other way. There's no real process of you trying to figure things out and then moving to a next stage of things. There is a lot of trying to determine things, which is what the swords to me are all about. Trying to define things, trying to determine how you feel, determine how things get to you, how the process it's a bit macho. The runes are macho in a way. So that's my conclusion of this sort of anti-correspondence affair. I'm glad I've done that also, got that done. And I am going to shuffle this lot and stick them back in the bag, because my steampunk, I love my steampunk, but the next runner-up for my daily tarot activities will probably be the Halloween tarot again, in a bit, after like towards the end of August or so. And in the meantime, I will be using Masasa Rabito on the road, and you know, on and off, whichever deck suits me at the time, like potentially the pagan cats that I'm thinking of taking along with me. Funnily, I haven't touched my Kazanlar at all in quite a while. I have worked with the greenwood for a bit, but that's also so specific and so way out there. It's kind of interesting to look at the greenwood compared to the runes as well. In the sense that there are theories that the runes come from the same world that the imagery of the greenwood comes from. It is imagery that in Europe has been completely, I was going to say strangled, by the presence of Christianity and the interpretations of the world and our lives through Christianity. What with the virtues popping up in this description of things that I have been attempting to do just now, I'm kind of cool with that, because we are needing to define our self-sovereignty, aren't we? We are in need, we all are in need of expressing personal sovereignty. That's the whole, that's why we're here. So on that note, I'm really going to leave it. I'm going to watch telly for a bit to, you know, get me all nice and stupid again. See you again very soon. And if I don't see you, or if you don't see me for a bit, it's because I'm camping. So that's very cool. And there will be running water and trees and tins of ravioli and that type of stuff happening. Okay? So I will be seeing you at some point, and I wish you all the best, and see you. And, you know, I'm repeating myself now. I'm already gone. I'm already halfway through the Alps. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.